bells?
Yes.
Do you hear the bell?
Do you hear the bell? Well, a very good afternoon. Friday, the 8th of July.
July.
And here we are, live again from the Netherlands. You know us by now, so we don't really need to
Claudia.
introduce ourselves anymore.
Arturo.
Yeah. Conscious world agents. So, yeah, well, here we are. We had a fantastic weekend.
We had a wonderful weekend. Last weekend was the Path of the Heart.
Yes.
And the Path of the Heart meant we slowed down.
Yeah.
And then we slowed down a little bit, and after that we
slow down and even a bit more.
Slowed down a little bit more. And what happened with the participants was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. And one of the things that we said afterwards to each other, but also to the participants, we are so grateful for doing this, work.
Yeah.
We don't feel, for us it doesn't feel as work, but we also felt so humble.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the reasons that we said,
humility.
Let's write something about humility this week.
Yeah.
It's a topic that we can speak on this weekly Facebook Live session.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in the form of humility in leadership. And of course, we don't see ourselves as leaders for a weekend like that, for a retreat, but we did facilitate.
Yeah.
You know, we created a space for people to, a safe space, which is the feedback we got, for people really to connect with their heart. And the things that happened from there were just absolutely amazing, they were funny in a way as well. Certain things we gave people some activities to do, you know, just experiential. So just see if you like it, and then make up your mind. And then the resentment in the beginning for the first 5 minutes or something.
No.
You know, oh gosh, not this. No. You know, that's this. Did I pay for this? Like kind of thing. And then what happened? 5 minutes when they could let go of that. What happened was just extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary, and it was amazing what came out of that, and how the heart opened, right?
Yeah, really, and these are so nice examples of how we as humans on this planet a lot of times work or act. The first thought, we believe in our own belief system, and we stay attached to that.
Yeah.
And by staying attached to your own belief system, not stepping out of your comfort zone, you probably won't learn something new.
Yeah.
It's possible, but it's pretty difficult there. Yeah. But once you let go of this defense mechanism, then you can go to your heart, and then suddenly all kind of things happen. And one person said also, "Oh, the world is beautiful."
Yeah, and not having seen that before like that at all, you know, how beautiful everything is, how beautiful nature is, and of course nature facilitates that as well, you know, it just let us slow down and let us have these experiences. We had a great laugh about it. It was so beautiful, you know, that we had to laugh. So yeah, therefore we chose humility as a topic to speak about. And yeah, for us humility really means the willingness to learn from others.
Yeah.
Humility is like an inner strength. And I wrote my post this week about sitting around a fire. We made a fire where we connected every day, and we just shared stories from the heart, where we were at that particular moment, what was going on in the retreat. And it was beautiful. And the fire sort of opens up a space where people start to talk quite easily, unless you're sitting in the smoke of it, but then other things happen, but it was really good fun to do that. And whilst I was sitting there and listening to all these stories that people shared, in my heart I could feel really the humility in my body. It was like, wow, we facilitate something, but we never know what the outcome is. We never know what it will do to this person or that person or to myself. But just when you stick to that method, something can transform, and that's what happened. And to let go of the arrogance, let go of the pride, let go of the small ego and what have you, that really opens up a space in you where we can learn. And I think humility has that capacity. It has that quality of realizing that we are part of the cosmos, and the cosmos is continuously evolving. Things are continuously changing. So when we understand that we are just a small part of that, and we position ourselves in that space in our own uniqueness, but with a willingness to stay humble, we can evolve. Yeah. I have never met anyone in my life who could say, well, that's it, I know it all, and I don't need to learn or grow anymore. We're continuously growing as human beings. We're continually evolving as human beings. In science, we can see this. People are finding out so much about our brain, for example, that it's about neuroplasticity and all these things, that we are a constantly changing phenomena. And humility is a quality that when we do that also gives the other person an opportunity to share where they're at, to share what's going on with them, rather than you wanting to already give the answer or your view or your experience. Can you actually just sit back and let the other person be or share or speak about what's going on in them, and have a willingness to be curious, to learn from this other person? And that was like something that I really experienced, and I find very helpful also in meetings, in your relationships, in the way you communicate with people, whether you facilitate as a leader, whether you're looking at your team, or when you're a parent or an auntie or a grandma or a grandpa or a teacher. What is it in you that allows space for the other person really to share what's going on inside them? And when you do that, we actually might learn something from that person. And I always say my children are my biggest teachers in this life. And just by listening to them often, my world also changed so much, or my viewpoints, like you're saying, change so much, because we are so attached often to our own way of how we see things, our own views and our viewpoints. So humility creates that space. Humility creates a space where I can learn. Like, for example, one of the participants said when they were watching our YouTube videos that I speak quite quickly. When you fast forward, you can fast forward on YouTube thing, so then you can hear in a shorter period of time the same message. And when they had to do that for me, they said it was very difficult because I already speak fast. So I didn't know that. So
I didn't know that.
So I'm more mindful, trying to be more mindful of speaking in a lower pace.
Yeah, you did great.
So so that was something that I've learned about myself again, and if that helps others, then I'm definitely willing to look at that. So if I'm starting to speak very slow, you know why.
Thank you, Arik.
So, any case, I don't know what to say about this anymore now. But I learned so much from the people who were at this event, and it was so beautiful and so awe-inspiring to see how they opened their heart, and just by doing certain techniques that we find really helpful ourselves, to see how this has an effect, and to know that that is not just on them, but somehow they will take that back into their own environment.
Absolutely.
And we never know how far these ripples go out. So yes, thank you so much for everyone who attended and who was brave and courageous enough to share it with us. That was just incredible. The things people shared with us, it was like so heartwarming and heart-opening. And it just showed me again that when we speak from the heart, when we speak from the fearless heart, how beautiful the connections are that we are making. You know, we're creating such different connections then with people, and when we start to see and meet each other from the heart, there's so much possible, and there's so much more richness to life when we do this. And I really hope that somehow you will also do that next time when you meet someone in the shop or in the street or in the train or at the bus station or hospital, wherever you are. Just see if you can say hello from your heart, that you really wish that someone to be well or something, and see what happens inside yourself, because it's not only something that is beneficial for the other when we are humble, but it's also very beneficial to ourselves, because it creates something within us that creates joy and gratitude. So, and we can learn that, and how do we learn that? Just by practicing it, just by being mindful. And how can I apply this? What this quality of humility.
Beautiful. And the nice part is also, as soon as you speak from the heart, and not anymore from the mind or all the fear that you have, what I saw was changing was also the face of the people.
Yeah.
They will start to smile, they will start to glow, they will start to shine the light. Yeah. Instead of feeling this heavy energy, this dense energy, it started to become light. And that's also what humility also brings, I think, is self-awareness. Self-awareness about how you are. So being humble is also not wanting to react every time, not wanting to go to say, I am right. Yeah. But can you let it sink in? And instead of from the ego mind coming from maybe more the ego with a capital E, the ego self. And the ego self is love, it's consciousness, it's humble, it's authentic.
Yes, that's true. That authentic part is also so important. Yeah.
And then you feel directly the connection. And that's what happened. The people who were there, they didn't know each other at all.
Yeah.
Within 15 minutes, there was a connection. And that's so beautiful. And who is Jay Corn? He said, good to see you both. Yeah.
Oh, hi Jake, lovely that you're here watching. Thank you.
And if you're listening now, please write down how it. If you haven't had an experience with really talking or feeling from the heart, feeling humble, feeling humility, what was the benefit for you? A lot of times people say showing humility is weakness, because they relate it to, okay, no, you're right, okay, I give everything away. But humility can be such a strength. You're willing to listen to the other person. You're willing to try to understand the other person. What will happen to the other person if you are really are 100% there? You try to understand them, you're willing to listen. What will happen with the other person? The other person will feel hurt.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you agree with everything the other person is saying. But for instance, as a leader, as a manager, but also in your relationships, are you willing to really 100% listen to the other person? Or is there this ego? What I say, the ego is your enemy, and humility is trusting yourself. Is there your ego to say, no, I am right. I'm going to say that you are wrong and I'm right. And you're not saying I'm wrong, no, or that to the other person you're wrong, no. What you do is you react and you don't listen anymore. But at the subconscious level, you bring the message, no, listen to me, I'm more important than you. And this is how we see a lot of communications, a lot of discussions go. It's not a dialogue, it's a discussion, or a debate even. And by showing humility, it's also compassion for yourself and compassion towards the other person. It helps you to broaden your own perspective if you really listen. Because nobody at this whole planet, that's more or less what you said, knows enough to be pessimistic. You don't know enough about any situation. If you think you know everything, then that's not humility. That could be maybe a little bit arrogant. So, can you stay open to what the other person is telling you? And again, you don't have to agree. But maybe sometimes there is something that you say, wow, never thought of this one. This is helpful. And with humility, the connection will a lot of times be much stronger. You will make much earlier stage the right connection with the heart instead of the mind. And I just had it when I think Wednesday. Wednesday I went to play golf, a golfing game, never met these persons. Within 2 minutes I had a real connection with one of the persons who was in my flight. And that was Johan, he was his name. And the whole course, the whole game, and it's 18 holes, and it took about more than 4 hours. We had so much fun with each other. Never met him before. But we stayed humble. We didn't try to be better than the other person. We helped each other. We were each other marker. So, where is your ball? Oh, wow, great shot. Can I help you to find your ball? And all these kind of things. And we now in a connection on LinkedIn and see what we can do maybe later on business-wise. But that was not the intention. The intention was to have a great game, a lot of fun, and making the connection. That's it. And when you show humility, you let go of the end result. You're here in the here and now. And why do I say humility is trust yourself? It's not having self-confidence, no, it's having confidence in yourself. Self maybe with the capital S. You don't take things personally then. You can let it where it, if somebody else says something that you don't like, it's not about you, it's about the other person. But can you stay humble and say, oh wow, that's an interesting perception. What do you mean exactly? And I think if leaders, managers are doing this much more in companies, people will do much more for them.
Yeah.
A lot of people are writing, I don't know what.
Have a look at it, but yeah, wonderful. And I don't think it's about that, you know, people will do only a lot for them. It's also about you will become more as a team because you start to realize that, you know, we can all learn from each other. And you're more willing then to go that step further because you see the other one is also willing to learn from you. So you can share all your skills and all your strengths. And I really love that, for example, from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the 14th Dalai Lama, because he always says, if science proves that in Buddhism we have seen things in a different way and it's not correct, we must change how we've addressed Buddhism for the last thousands of years. And that is still, for me, a sense of humility, as in, okay, we as long as no one else has found a way that is showing that what we're doing is incorrect, because they're very much about developing the mind and so forth, and learning and growth. Until then, we practice it, but we're still willing and open, and that's why His Holiness has all these science and mind dialogues and all these things, because you will learn from each other. So, and it's not that you. Some people say, "Well, I don't really like this humility because it makes me look small, or I have a voice, I'm important, I can say what I want," and then we get I. I have a nice suggestion here as well for people. Sometimes when you write an email, check up how often you use the word I, or you start your sentence with I. See if you can write a sentence in a whole different way without using the word I, and what happens.
Yeah, beautiful. And Jake is writing a lot. And he's, for instance, where are all his messages? Well, he said, I think, I remember he said, if we talk from humility with each other, there's deep rapport with each other.
Yeah.
Deep rapport.
Yeah.
And also the immersion and going into silence is there. And then you feel a different energy. It's beautiful. I like that, Jake. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And you create this space, for other things to emerge.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because we fill it in, like you're saying, Jake. I think what I understand of that, if I hear you correctly, is we fill it in with words. And if we're in silence, then things can come up. Also, it doesn't even have to be something that you and I know, not even the willingness perhaps to learn from each other, but also to see what wants to arise from itself. So,
and I don't know exactly who said it. It doesn't matter right now, but there was a person 1,000 years ago, and he wrote something like, enlightenment is have an open mind for everything and be attached to nothing. And I think humility comes very close to that. Really be humble. Have this open mind. Listen. Just listen. Learn. Take towards you what resonates. And if it doesn't resonate, it's not for you. But don't be attached to what you already learned, to your belief system, to your past. Can you let it go? And that's that second step that's so important.
Yeah, and then if you can see that in teams or organizations or in communities or in families, what can that do? When you do that, if the leader takes on this stance of, the wisdom we need is already here, or the skills we need is already here, and then look at what can evolve from that, and to guide it perhaps in the direction towards progress or things that are positive. I think that's really good as a leader. You can do that, and you can allow everyone's qualities to come to the surface and invite them to share much more, because how often is it not that people who have great skills and great ideas but maybe are not so confident to speak up, and that they are the quiet voice in a company or in a team, great football players, basketball players, swimmers, whatever, but they have all these skills, but they're not maybe very confident in saying what they really think or feel. And then if you can make that happen, that they are feeling safe enough to share what they really can contribute. Have you ever had that experience when someone then said something, you were like, oh my gosh, that was amazing, but the space was created for that person to voice him or herself, and great things have come out of that. So I think that's a very, very rich skill and very undermined. And in the program that we use in our training, 16 guidelines for life building inner strength, which is to do with building resilience, inner resilience, and wisdom to make wise, compassionate choices. humility is the first guideline. And if we are all here to learn, there's no surprise they choose humility as this guideline, because when we take the stance of the willingness to learn from others and from experiences, that's where I think the growth lies. And yeah, like I said earlier in this talk, I don't think I've met anyone yet who hasn't learned something in their lives. So you can ask yourself also the question, who in your life is a person who really embodies humility, and how do you feel around that person? You know, when you say something to them or when you witness them, how does it make you feel? Now, and if we all have these mirror neurons, then perhaps it has an effect on you as well, and maybe it's contagious. Maybe you want to experience and share it with others too.
Yeah. Can I share what Rebecca is
Yes, please.
writing?
Hi, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Nice that you're here.
Yeah, beautiful.
Is that Rebecca Chain? Or?
Yeah,
Nice,
Rebecca.
I thought I saw.
I think it's the feeling of being in a space that is safe, with a feeling that the person respects you, and then you feel safe to speak out.
Nice, very nice.
Beautiful.
Thank you for
I love
sharing
it.
that, Rebecca. I love it too.
Yeah. You know, for me, humanity is also pretty close to surrender. A surrender you don't know. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm open.
That's so nice.
Yeah. And not surrendering. Oh no, I cannot do anything anymore. No, it's not. It's the surrender in the strength.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me something that I didn't know yet.
I love it.
I'm open.
Yeah, and it develops with that, you know, so many opportunities, but also an awareness. I think you wrote that in your post, your self-awareness.
Your self-awareness will rise.
Yeah.
And when you look at a higher consciousness, there are 4 qualities, and the second quality is the self-awareness that is growing. And if your self-awareness is growing, you can see what you're doing, you can feel what you're doing, and then you can make a conscious decision, do I want to change or not? Yeah. That's self-awareness. Yeah. It gives you power, not power over, no, power of yourself. Within yourself, thank you.
And
life is so easy.
Yeah, and it can change your perceptions. Eh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you might have ideas about things, and then all of a sudden, like this person we spoke about who was at the retreat, like when we gave this sort of activity, and we said, well, go and do this, and he said for 5 minutes, he was like, why would I want to do that? I never do these things, and did I pay for this, or whatever. I don't think he thought that, but it was like, but then a few minutes after, it was like, wow, I can see so much more beauty in things, and his whole perspective changed completely, and he was like, thank you both so much, because it has changed my life. And then to hear what he shared later in the evening, that blew us away. Talk about humility. When he said, we said, how was the first day? And he said, yesterday I was living my life, just 10% of who I feel I am, without realizing it. And today I feel my full potential for the first time. So we were both like, whoa, I can't believe I'm hearing this. No. But
still, if you tell it, I feel it.
It comes up, right? It's like, but can you imagine the impact on someone in their lives? And that is the kind of person I know he will sustain that. He will not be able to go back to that 10% of awareness. So yeah, huge gratitude for the work we can do.
Absolutely.
And
talking about the work we can do, we're going to do. We had our experience days. That was online or live here in Bussum. We changed the name from Experience Day to Inspiration Day. And for the rest, everything is the same. So we have our next Inspiration Day online session on August 30th. Yeah, 30th. August 30th on a Tuesday. And we have our Inspiration Day in October the 4th, here in Bussum live. So if you want to sign up, go to our website, consciousworldagents.com, and then see Inspiration Day is one of the topics that you can find there. And if you sign up with 2 persons, the second person has a discount of 50%.
Nice.
So it's half price for the second person.
And it's filling up already, the online one. So
the online one is already, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So, if you want to get some more inspiration of us, how to live a very meaningful life, with more awareness to raise your level of consciousness, maybe that's for you. Read up what it says and see if it resonates, and we'd love to have you there.
Yeah. And make the decision not from here, but
from your heart.
Please.
Yes. Yes. Okay, well, I think that's it, huh?
Yeah.
For today. So we hope you enjoyed it. It was wonderful that you were so interactive. Thank you so much for your lovely comments, Jake and Rebecca, and
all the others who were watching.
That's so nice. And if you watch it later, it will be soon on YouTube as well. If you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do, on Conscious World Agents. And you can also find us on LinkedIn and on Instagram. Well, have a wonderful weekend.
Have a great weekend.
True. Too, and see if you can apply the skill of humility sometimes, and also that suggestion I made when you write an email or a message. See if you can take the word I out. See what happens. Okay. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.